Hi, welcome to Tech Alley with RJ. I'm RJ with Seabreeze, and I'll be your Tech Alley for a question and answer session in the next few minutes, and we'll see how we do answering your questions uh, about technology and people and how we get along or not. And I hope you're having a good Saturday morning. Try to do these every Saturday, but in any case, there may be days missing here and there for lack of questions. Ask your questions below, and I'll get to them in the next video. So here's some questions that came in over the last 2 weeks, since last week was a bit of a gap in our production, but that's okay. Today, I have a question from Natalie. She says, help, my computer stopped running. It's not responsive. The mouse moves around on the screen, but nothing is happening otherwise. What do I do? So, Natalie, I feel for you. What has ultimately happened is what's called the silent crash, where your machine has frozen and is unresponsive, maybe only for now, but in any case, how do you get it unstuck is kind of a known underground secret in the world of computer repair. Hold down the power button for a count of 10 and your machine will be forced into shutting down. And then after that, you should be able to start up your computer as normal with maybe some messages about how your machine was shut down with a problem. And that's true. So, you don't have to be so thrilled about it, but you don't have to be upset or thinking that this is major unless it's happening a lot. And then if it's happening more than once a day or a week, I mean, I've had my computer running for quite a while and it hasn't done this, but they do eventually show up with these silent crashes. There are also other types of things where a technician like myself would be in order. One's called a blue screen of death. It's blue. It's not death, but it sounds scary because, in all honesty, the business that I'm in has made a profit off of scaring people and making you wish you didn't have computers. So I'm here to tell you, as a computer child, that these things are at some point going to be dealt with in a more sensible way. Maybe not today, but we hope. Anyway, Natalie, that power down the machine and restarting the machine is a very good response. And there's kind of an inside joke in the world of IT to shut down and restart fixes 99% of the world's problems. And reinitializing, which is technically what that would be, is the right way to go. So, first try out, shut down the machine and restart it. On that same note, I was just at an office yesterday where the important print jobs were not being done. The printer was upset and not having any jobs sent to it. So, it took me more than I should have to realize that I could just shut down the printer and restart it, and bingo, the problem was resolved. So these intermittent problems that happen in software can be corrected with a simple restart of your computer. And what's really fun is, since I was a very young person, the Atari 2600 up until now, with one button or 101 keys on a keyboard, they all come with a reset button. So Natalie, I hope that helps. Please do let me know how that worked out for you. And if you are having more than one restart a day, let me know so we can get that resolved. And thank you for being a patron. Okay, so that's the first kind of thing. On that same, level of basic interactions, my pleasure was interacting with somebody on the street yesterday last week about the classes that she's going to be taking at Henry Street Settlement, where they offer adult ed literacy classes. That's great. I used to teach classes like this in the community centers. I still teach those classes. It's hard to remember sometimes. But those classes for sharing the information is so great and so crucial. If you live near a place that's offering a adult computer literacy class, please take them. And I guess the one takeaway from that conversation was, in passing, I mentioned that all computers have a reset button, and that from the oldest till now, we've just considered them virtual and video game like. So if you're not into video games, it's going to be a little bit harder for you to get involved with these virtual devices as they become more and more important in our world. But let's be honest, the feeling is that the people who created them are fully the video game, lovers. And so everything with regard to a computer will come from a perspective of, you're just going through this level and you'll crash the machine, or you're failing the level first, but you get multiple tries and you can try as many times as you can tolerate. And that's a wonderful thing. So for anybody out there that is, in that age range where computers were not necessary for their, making a living, and now they're into retirement, what is with this stuff? That's my people. And I wish you to, take hold of these machines and grab onto them as if you are running them, not the other way around. Because if you let them, the people who are experts at their equipment will take advantage and make us the victims. That's a guarantee. Okay, in that same, I guess we're gonna just go with the idea that I talked to my dad last week, and he was a computer guy from even before my time. And I asked him, I said, you're 70, 80 something. You could tell me from your perspective what you've seen and what's your takeaway from all of this, at 80 years old, being a guy that was involved with transistors and on up through integrated circuits, and now with these massive parallel and power computing with multiple processors. This was all predicted way, way, way back. And I said, what's next? What's happening? What's the takeaway, Pop? And he said to me that the access to this vast amount of information has never been faster, and the amount of information has never been more, but it's unfiltered, and it has very little bearing on the reality that authorities, librarians, used to be in the position of, being there to ask the internet, and trustworthy people are hard to find on the internet. Thank you. So my dad is talking about the fact that there's no filter with all of this information. We're glutton for information. What can we do? We can resist and train our minds to be mentally prepared for a lot of noise and not a lot of true signal, in his parlance. So thank you, Dad, for that one. I appreciate you answering my question about, what is your takeaway after decades in the business. So I appreciate that. I guess we have one last question that is pretty interesting stuff. It gets to the part where somebody asked me, they said, RJ, this stuff is over my head. I really don't think it's my, bag. So I wanted to address that and say that, I'm sorry that some of these are very esoteric, and I'm about to go into one of those. But if you think about what these basic, ideas that I'm presenting are, it's in a way that demystifies, and maybe this mystery is not your mystery. So it's okay to just let that one blow by, and there will be another episode. And if you have questions that are pertinent to you, and you would like the experience of, I guess, not just mine, but my father and over 100 years collective experience on technology and what it's good for and what it's not good for, please drop me a line. And if you feel like this is something that you support, please also visit my Patreon, because it's always nice to have somebody showing their support. It makes me feel like this is really, picking up some steam. Early days, episode 10. That's about it for now. Thank you guys for coming out and visiting RJ on a Saturday morning. And we'll just see you next week if things go well. I should be, trying to get a live viewing together, a common consultation, I might call it, at some point. I would love to hear from you guys watching, just to let me know that, this is hitting its mark or not, and how you could see it being better. I'm always listening. I appreciate you, and we'll see you next week. Thanks.